Hello student, today let us start from question number 18, your miscellaneous chapter 5, because we have done the previous question in the last video. So your question number 18 is fx equal to x cube, modulus of x cube. Show that f double dash x exists for all real x and find it. So what is asked in the question? You have to first show it that second derivative of f is exist. Your fx is modulus of x whole cube. First you have to say that f double dash x exists. That means first you have to show it that first derivative, that is f dash x exists. And if f dash x exists, secondly we have to find out that f double dash x exists, and then our aim is to get their values. So first you see, as this is a modulus function, so I have written it in the expanded form. Your fx is modulus of x whole cube, and you know for x greater than equal to 0, modulus of x value will be equal to x. So modulus of x is x, therefore modulus of x whole cube will be x cube for x greater than equal to 0. And for x less than 0, modulus of x value is minus x, so we can write down it as minus x whole cube, right? So here on simplification we get it will be remains as it is, x cube for x greater than equal to 0, and minus x whole cube can be written as minus x cube for x less than 0. Now you see the function, the domain of the function is the set of real number. For greater than 0, fx is defined by x cube, which is an algebraic function, polynomial function, so we can easily take the derivative. Similarly for x less than 0, it is minus x cube, again a polynomial function, so we know how to take the derivative. So these two things are easily derivable. That's why the critical point is 0. So we will check the differentiability at the point x equal to 0, and then we will do its derivative, right? So the differentiability we can check by using the first principle. Hope you remember what is your first principle. Your first principle is f dash x equal to limit h tends to 0 f of x plus h minus f of x by h. Now I have to check the differentiability at the point x equal to 0. So we are going to put x equal to 0 here. It become f dash 0 is equal to limit h tends to 0 f of 0 plus h minus f of 0 by h. In the place of x, I substituted here 0, right? So 0 plus h can be written as h minus f0 by h. Now you see we cannot substitute here the value of fh. f0 value can be substituted, but f of h value we cannot substitute. As we know, h tends to 0. From here it is not clear whether h is greater than 0 or less than 0. That's why which definition of fx we are going to use. It is difficult for us to decide. That's why what I'll go to do, we will separate it into the left hand and the right hand derivative. Because if I write down left hand derivative, then we will understand that left hand side means left hand side of 0. It means 0 minus 0 form. So 0 minus 0 means h will be less than 0. So I have written here lf dash 0 is equal to limit h tends to 0 minus 0 f of h minus f of 0 by h. Now from here we understand that h is less than 0. So if it is less than 0, then I can use the definition of fx equal to what? Less than 0 minus fx is minus x cube, so fh is minus h cube. So we can write down here minus h cube minus f0 equal to 0 is 0 case 0 cube by h. And here no need to write down 0 minus 0. Directly we can write now h tends to 0, because the work of 0 minus 0 is completed here when you substitute this thing. And here you know 0 cube is 0, so minus h cube by h. On simplification it give you limit h tends to 0 h square. This is a polynomial function, so we can substitute the value of h, that is 0, so will give you minus 0 square means 0. Okay. Now I'll go to the right hand derivative, r f dash 0. For right hand derivative, limit h tends to 0 plus 0. That means we understand that h is now greater than 0. So if it is greater than 0, you just write down your limit value, that required function, and for greater than 0, you put the value of fh. For greater than 0, it is defined by h cube, because fx is x cube. So h cube minus 0 cube by h. On simplification, this will give you h square. On substitution, give you 0. So what we have got, L f dash 0 value and R f dash 0 value are same. That means left hand derivative is equal to the right hand derivative. What is the conclusion? Yes, fx is differentiable at the point x equal to 0. Means f dash x exists. So, if f dash x exists at the point x equal to 0, already we know for greater than 0 and less than 0. So, let us take the differentiation. So, your fx is x cube for x greater than equal to 0 and fx is minus x cube for x less than 0. So, for greater than 0, the derivative of x cube is 3x square, and for x less than 0, derivative of minus x cube is equal to what? X to the power n formula we can apply. Minus is there and 3x square. So, this is the first derivative we have completed. Now, we have to check the differentiability at the point x equal to 0 for second derivative. So, we have considered our second derivative case. Here directly I have separated this. Left hand derivative, second derivative, limit h tends to 0 minus 0, because I have written here left hand. If it is f dash x, it is f of 0 plus h minus f of x. But since it is f double dash x, so we have to write down f dash 0 plus h minus f dash 0 by h. Here double dash, so here it will be single dash. Now f dash 0 plus h can be written as f dash h minus f dash 0 by h. Now it is 0 minus 0, so we understand that h is less than 0. So for h less than 0, what is the value of f dash h? Let us see. For h less than 0, this one is okay. Fx is for less than 0 minus 3x square. So h less than 0, f dash x is equal to minus 3h square. So I have written here minus 3h square, and f dash 0 is equal to 0, because I have to substitute 3 into 0 square, that is 0 by h. On simplification, minus 3h square by h will give you minus 3h. So minus 3 into 0, that is equal to 0. Now we go for the right hand derivative, right hand second derivative. So it will be 0 plus 0. This will be same. Okay. Now 0 plus 0, it is f dash h minus f dash 0 by this. It should be h. Okay. Now your limit h tends to 0. What is the value of f dash h? F dash h is equal to minus positive greater than 0. So 3h square by 0 by h. Minus 0 by h. So on simplification, this is 3h, that is 3 into 0, it will be equal to 0. So what we have seen, that L f double dash 0, this one, and R f double dash 0, both the values are equal. It means f dash is differentiable at the point x equal to 0. Let us take its differentiation now. F double dash x equal to, here we have to take the differentiation of this expression. 3 constant, the dx of x square is 2x. So 3 to the 6x. So for greater than equal to 0, the function is equal to 6x. For less than 0, this is minus 3 will be there, and take the derivative, that is twice x. So the value will equal to minus 6x less than 0. So here the solution is completed, because we have checked that second derivative exists and we got the value of second derivative also. Okay. Hope you understand the solution. Now let us go to the next question, number 19. Okay. Your question number 19 is, using mathematical induction, prove that ddx of x to the power n is n x to the power n minus 1 for all positive integer. So, we know this formula. Now, we have to check it. By first principle in 11, we have derived it. Okay, and till now we have used it so many times. But now, we have to check it by using mathematical induction. Is this result true? So, mathematical induction, hope you remember. We have to give the name of the statement as Pn. Then we have to check the whether P of 1 is true or not. Second step, you have to consider it or suppose it that the result is true for n is equal to k, and using that concept we have to show it that the result is true for n is equal to k plus 1. Let us proceed one by one. First we name the function, that is the statement Pn is equal to this one. ddx of x to the power n is equal to n x to the power n minus 1. This is the name of the statement. Now let us verify the result, it is true for n is equal to 1 or not. That is the first step. For n is equal to 1, what is the left hand side? ddx of x. So left hand side is ddx of x, and we know ddx of x is equal to 1. Then for the right hand side, 1 and n is equal to 1, 1 into x to the power 1 minus 1. So 1 into x to the power 0 is equal to 1. So we have seen that the right hand side and left hand sides are equal, therefore P1 is true. Now we suppose, second step, we suppose that P of k be true. That means P of k, what is the statement P of k? ddx of x to the power k is equal to k into x to the power k minus 1. You have to replace n by k. This is true. We will suppose it now. Okay. আমি এটা ধৰি লৈছো যে এটো correct হয়, true হয়. Now using this we have to prove it that P of k plus 1 is true. That is, what is P of k plus 1? Let us write down. Then it will make the question easy. So I have written here to prove that P of k plus 1 is true. What is P of k plus 1? ddx of x to the power k plus 1 is equal to k plus 1 into x to the power k plus 1 minus 1. That means you can write down it as simplified form x to the power k. We have to prove it that this is true. So I'll consider from this side. But don't write down it as left hand side, okay? Because we, for our convenience, I have written this step. So now we consider ddx of x to the power k plus 1. Now you know, x to the power k plus 1 can be written as x to the power k into x. Now here we see, we just divide it into the product of two functions of x. That means we can use here product rule of differentiation. What is the product rule? U into v rule. That is your first function x to the power k, ddx of the second function x plus second function into ddx of the first function. Then we know ddx of x to the power, and just keep it as it is, ddx of x is 1, x to the power k, keep it as it is. And what is ddx of x to the power k? We have already supposed that this is true. That is k x to the power k minus 1. So I have used this one, using 1. Then we simplify x to the power k, and then k is constant, x to the power k into k minus 1 give you x to the power k. So let us take common x to the power k, give you 1 plus k. And you see, this is your P of k. That means we have got it. Because this k to the power k to x to the power k plus 1 minus 1 give you x to the power k. So we are in the form to write down the conclusion. That is, what is our conclusion? Therefore, P of k plus 1 is true whenever P of k is true. Because we have used 1, which is P of k plus 2. Hence, by the principle of mathematical induction, Pn is true for all positive integers. Okay? So our result is completed here. Next, let us go to question number 20. You see, these questions are a little bit different than the previous questions. Using the fact that sine of a plus b is equal to sine a cos b plus cos a sine b, and differentiation, obtain the sum formula of cosine. You got it in trigonometry. What is the value of sine of a plus b? This is the formula of sine of a plus b, is not it? Sine of a plus b is equal to sine a cos b plus cos a sine b. In this question, it is asked to use this fact, and differentiation you have to use. And then, using differentiation and using this fact, we have to derive the formula of cosine. Cosine sum formula. What is the cosine sum formula? Hope you remember. That is what? Cos of a plus b. What is cos of a plus b? Cos a cos b minus sine a sine b. Let us find out now. What is given here? Sine of a plus b is sine a cos b cos a sine b, or it's known to you. Now we are going to differentiate it, because you have to use differentiation. Differentiating both sides with respect to x, what we have got, let us check. ddx of sine of a plus b is equal to ddx of this right hand side. Then I just done the differentiation. Think a plus b as x, and you can use, you see here in this case a and b are not independent of x, okay, not constant. So you think a plus b as x and use the formula of sine a. Sine x formula is cos x, so cos of a plus b. What is x your case? It is a plus b, so ddx of a plus b. Here I can use a plus u plus b formula, right? And u plus v again we can break up it into u into v. So ddx of sine a cos b can be written as sine a ddx of cos b plus cos s ddx of sine a. Sine a by using u into v rule. Then again we have got ddx of this one. That is, again I can use u into v rule. Sine b ddx of cos a plus cos a ddx of sine b. Okay? Conversing also we can write it. After that, cos of a plus b, keep it as it is. This is what? Dx dA dx plus db dx. Now, on the right side, what I am going to do is just see. Sine a, keep it as it is. What is the derivative of cos b? It's minus sine b, thinking b as a, x. So, sine b db dx. This is cos b, keep it as it is. Now, think it as a. We can use the formula of sine a. Sine a derivative is cos a. Take the derivative of a with respect to x. As I told you earlier, here a and b are not constant, because the formula we have to derive in terms of a and b. In a similar way, sine b, ddx of cos a, think a as x, and ddx of sine cos a is minus sine a, and dA dx, plus cos a, think b as x, this is cos b dB dx. Now we see we can take common dA dx and dB dx, because I have to combine it, write down the formula. So I have taken dA dx common, dA dx common, dA dx taking common, cos a cos b, and here minus sine a sine b. Then similarly from the first and the third, fourth term, I am taking common dB dx. dB dx taking common, What is left? Positive I have written first, cos B, cos A, cos B minus sin A, sin B. Then you see both the expression cos A, cos B, sin A, sin B is common. So take it common. What is left? dA dx plus dB dx. And as dA dx and dB dx are not equal to 0 from both the side, I have just cancelled out dA dx plus dB dx on the right also. What is remain? Cos of A plus B is cos A, cos B minus sin A, sin B. And hence the result, because we know this is the formula of cosine. Cosine of some formula, isn't it? So this solution is completed here.